Many headlines these days relate to Iran. What will the U.S. do? What will Israel do? And what will Iran do? We're mostly discussing the international relations with Iran and actions Iran may or may not take with international consequences. At the Tel Aviv University's annual Iran conference, hosted by the university's Center for Iranian Studies, the participants related to the internal issues in Iran, issues which have influence also on the external international stage.
It's wrong to see Iran only through Ahmadinejad and his remarks. Iran is a civilization, the people there who are also curious about Israel. Not the government in Iran, but the people in Iran are curious.
How bad is what we're seeing internally there in Iran?
By looking at the internal relations and processes inside Iran, it gives us the opportunity or a window to perceive and understand the ideology of the regime. What's interesting is that the regime's perception of Jews and of Israel and of Zionists is classical, in my mind, is a classical form of anti-Semitism and tyranny. So while the regime sort of holds out the Jews and focuses the attention on the Israelis, the Jews and the Zionists, domestically it's it's putting the international attention on Israel and the external relations, while internally it's squashing opposition and suppressing minority rights.
Is there any international awareness to what's going on to the Jews of Iran?
I think there's very little awareness of the ideology of the regime. And as I said in my comments, I think when anti-Semitism begins with Jews or starts with Jews, but it never ends with Jews. And I think the regime's genocidal anti-Semitism, and I'm using my words very carefully, it's incitement to genocide, it's genocidal anti-Semitism. By using that as a ruse or a tool, it's suppressing opposition within the country.
The regime will stay in power longer if it can convince people that it's about to be attacked by the enemy. There are all these foreign powers that are trying to strangle Iran. He needs the national unity. He needs to present Iran as a hegemonic power, a strong power in the Middle East. So these are part of the rhetorics that comes out of Iran today under the President Ahmadinejad. But there's going to be an election soon. June 12th, there will be a new election for a new president in Iran. And a lot of us are hopeful.
Anything you think can be done, or are we at a point of no return?
I think there's a little bit of optimism. When in Geneva too, in Durban too, about a month ago at the conference, the United Nations conference, there was a reaction to Ahmadinejad's genocidal anti-Semitism. Some countries boycotted the conference, some countries walked out. And I think there's an awareness that he's using the narrative of the protocols of the Elders of Zion, the genocidal anti-Semitic text, as a way to focus attention on people's marginal positions in societies throughout the world, that people are beginning to realize that this is a threat and this is serious, and there is attention being focused on him.